Welcome to Jude's Barbecue. I'm Rick Hernandez, and today we're going to go over how to trim and season pork ribs. All right, so here we have a somewhat whole spare pork rib. I say somewhat whole because the brisket bone has already been removed from this one, which is giving us a little head start here. We'll go ahead and turn this over, and we'll see a flap right here on the bony side. We're going to go ahead and remove that. Just kind of get in there. Cut that off. Now, some people like to remove the membrane. I don't. I leave them together. I don't think it makes so much of a difference. Some people might score the membrane. You could do that. That's fine too. But we'll go ahead and leave the membrane there. You want to go ahead and remove any overly excess fat that's just going to end up burning. And these really skinny, thin pieces here are just going to burn in the cooking process and not really be anything that's really palatable. So we're going to go ahead and trim this back pretty good. This skirt here, we'll go ahead and take that back like this. You could save this later for some excellent sausage. And we'll cut this to the bone here. And trim this a little bit here. A little bit there. And our bone there. Check it for any sharp bones. You got a shiner here. If you're picking some choice ribs out for your home, you want to try to find some that don't have any shiners on them, just all meaty on top. But this is not a bad rack, and that's pretty much it. It's a real basic thing. We're looking for a nice rectangular shape as much as possible. Nothing hanging out, nothing hanging over. This one looks good. Looks like it's ready for some seasoning. So now we're going to talk about seasoning your pork ribs. Now, at home, you can do whatever you want. You can get real creative with pork ribs. They're very forgiving, and they do well with a lot of different types of flavors. You can go sweet, spicy, salty, all kinds of stuff. But here in the restaurant, we just do 2 parts coarse pepper and 2 parts coarse kosher salt. You want the flakes to be about the same size, and we'll go ahead and start seasoning this. I start on the back side. Again, we left the membrane on. We're going to go ahead and season it nice and light on the back side, because when we cook these, the meaty side is going to be up. So we'll go ahead and just give these a light dusting here. Now there's still a little moisture from the meat that is allowing the rub to stick. If your ribs are all dried from cleaning them or patting them dry, you want to slather them with something. You can use an array of things. People like to dry or brine these in mustard sometimes. You can do whatever you like. We just use salt and pepper. Later on we'll add a little bit of sauce for light glazing in the smoking process. Again, smoke is going to be one of your main ingredients in these ribs. We'll go ahead and do a little heavier on the top side. Just like so. That should be good. So now our ribs are ready for the smoker. Alright, so now our pork ribs have been smoking for about 3 hours at 275. And what you want to look for is some nice flexibility, a nice deep mahogany color. You see a nice bark on here. And a good indicator that your ribs are getting close to ready is how much the bones are sticking out. That means the meat has set back and released some off the bones. It's not completely done yet. What we need to do now is we're going to wrap it in foil with a little bit of moisture, a little bit of light sauce, some apple cider vinegar, and yeah, we're going to give these things a wrap. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that right now. Sorry, I messed with the camera. Put the opaque side down. Make sure you're using heavy-duty foil. And we are going to go ahead and spritz it with a little apple cider vinegar here. And a little bit of sauce, just pretty much where the ribs are gonna go. And this sauce has been cut with water, about 80-20, 80% sauce, 20% warm water. Go ahead and throw our ribs down. We're gonna put the meat side down, bone side up. And it's very important when you're wrapping these, check for any sharp bones that may stick out, because if they puncture your foil, you're gonna defeat the whole purpose. So we got a little bone right here that's just real jagged. We're gonna go ahead and pull that one off, throw that away. This little fella should be fine. We'll just be careful not to put too much pressure when we wrap there. Other thing we're gonna do is go ahead and give this a little spritz on top here. And a little bit of sauce on top here, just a little bit. And then you wanna brush that all in. And if you don't have a brush, you can just rub it with your gloved hand. Just get that spread out nice and evenly. Spread that out there. All right. Now it's ready to wrap. All right, let's slide this down here. Hold this over so. You're essentially making a nice pocket for the ribs. The advantage of making it really long like so and folding it over is you only have 3 sides you have to seal, because one side is completely sealed already. So then we'll take our sides here, fold them in just like you would paper. And when you get close to the bones here, don't apply too much pressure, otherwise you will puncture your foil and ruin the process you're going for. Essentially steaming these for the last 45 minutes to an hour until they're to the right tenderness. Just seal that there. And voila, it's ready to go back in the smoker. All right, so now our pork ribs have been in the foil in the smoker for approximately 45 minutes to an hour, and they've reached the desired tenderness, so now they're ready to slice. Let's go ahead and figure this out. All right, you wanna open up your ribs here. Now when they first came out, we let them rest for a little bit. Look at that. These look beautiful. Oh yeah, nice and tender. Got some beautiful tender ribs. Right there. So, if you've never trimmed pork ribs before, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of counterintuitive actually. You think these lumps here are where the bone is, but actually those lumps are your guide to where the meat is bunched up between the bones, and that's where you want to cut, right on those lumps. This one doesn't have too noticeable of lumps, but my bones are pretty visible, which will make this an easy cut. I'll start here on the end. This little bone I know stops right here because I know the anatomy of pork ribs. I've dealt with them a lot. So I know this little bone is going to come right here and stop. I know that because I see this bone coming at an angle this way, and this one's coming this way. This one's here. So you got to visualize your bones. You go like this, and then boom, like this. So we'll start here and make our first cut. There we go, nice and easy there. Now we got this one coming kind of at an angle here. There we go. And another angle right there. And then we see some spacing here. This kind of goes like this. You'll notice they kind of snake through the meat. And then this little fella right here. And there you have it. Pull this one out. Got a nice beautiful pork rib. Got your smoke ring. Got a nice bark. Very tender. Very juicy. This rib is ready to go.